for very long.
No, I had said that I would like the player for the Leafs, but now that they have discount Tanner Jeannot.
Dollar store
Jeannot in Pizzetta. Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay, the Mitch Marner
Right.
era in Toronto is officially over. And now, tell me something. Is this something that we're going to see over the next week, the next summer, or the next year, that people will continually discuss this to the point where we have to crown him a hero or a villain, or is this just going to die down?
I think everyone is justified in getting it out of their systems right now. Like this
That's a good way of putting it.
Right. I mean, this is, God, it's led to a real head here, and we finally got movement. We know he went to Vegas. I think there's been a lot written. Luke Fox wrote an excellent piece on him on sportsnet.ca, which I highly recommend you check out. I know The Athletic did a couple. Down Goes Brown. Sean McIndoe did a piece where he argued with himself about Marner being both a hero and a villain. So yes, that's all happening right now. I do think that this is all going to soften with time for Marner and the perception of his time here in Toronto. I think a pretty good kid who probably took it pretty hard, and it goes two ways and all that. But I think once it works through this initial assessment, I think it'll be okay.
I mean, Vince Carter has his number hanging in the rafters at Scotiabank Arena, so anything's possible.
Yeah.
But I do think for the first couple of years of this, it'll be pretty bad, I would imagine.
I think, yeah, you're right.
I don't know who actually goes to games versus like the online
That's
perception.
a good point.
Because I think, any social media for any fan base of any team, it's not going to be pretty for a lot of this stuff. And I think the disconnect between who actually attends games versus who is sending, Instagram DMs and commenting, it's a very different group of people. So I'm sure there'll be a light smattering of boos when he returns to Scotiabank Arena.
It might be stronger.
I don't know. Maybe I'm way off on this, but I really don't think, like, half those people are just, they're at getting red. They're getting red wine. Like I think it's a very different. Maybe from the upper deck, the booze will be coming down, but I can't help but sit here and say that it's a pretty bad day for the Leafs and for Mitch Marner in terms of just legacies on both sides. It's tough. So no winners.
I think the direct correlation between boos or cheers is directly related to where the success of the team is at that point.
Great point.
Right?
Yeah, if the team's struggling. then
First of all,
it's his fault.
is Vegas coming in October, or are they coming in March? Are the Leafs comfortably leading the Atlantic Division? Are they chasing a wild card spot? Where are the Leafs? Did they just win 4 in a row? Did they lose 4 in a row when he comes in? That, to me, will be the biggest telling tale of where they are reminded when Mitch Marner comes in town. And if he's part of the problem of what's happening in that present moment.
But if the relationship with him and the reaction to him is that lightly affected by things like schedule, performance, whatever, I think that's a good thing long-term for Mitch. As things soften and you get away from it, if it is in the first year affected by how they're doing at that moment, I think long-term is a good thing. The Vince Carter thing is why I'm talking like this. Yeah. Mitch didn't come out and say F the city of Toronto or anything like that. He didn't want to be here, didn't want to play for the team.
Carter's was really ugly.
Carter was uglier than this by a substantial amount.
I can't remember. Just jog my memory.
He basically quit on
He was like, I'm not going to dunk anymore. He was telling opposing players their plays, like on the inbounds. Like he was publicly quitting on the Toronto Raptors.
I think Mitch didn't succeed, but he tried to succeed.
Why is this? Well, why would he?
Kipper, that's a great question, buddy. How much time you got?
Why is his name up in the rafters?
Because
a lot of people don't think it should be.
I think because they won. The Toronto Raptors won, and it softened the blow of everything. And it was just kind of, you zoomed out, and you're like, oh, well, there was some good times with him, and the Carter effect, and all these players, and.
And teams want to celebrate their past because it ties those fans to the franchise with nostalgia, right? It keeps people from this generation who grew up watching Mitch, a 19-year-old right now. 20 years from now, that guy's 39. He's telling people, you should have seen the plays this kid used to make, whatever. It'll get there for Mitch. It isn't there now, and I don't think it should be there now.
It's going to be much like the Vince Carter thing, where there's going to be a certain faction of the fan base, and there was a ton of people who I argued with vehemently.
Yeah,
I argued with them that there's no way it should come around. But there's a huge portion of the fan base that said he had a huge effect on the Raptors, all that. And there's a big portion of the Toronto Maple Leafs fan base that still thinks that Marner this and Marner that, they shouldn't let him go, all that. And it'll just be one of these things that we discuss for the rest of our time. It's sports talk. That's what happens.
And now it's Nick Waugh, baby.
Well,
I hope that kid also has, fans should not tie Nick Waugh to Mitch Marner at all. He's a player they acquired. There's nothing to do with Marner.
You'll remember this 1-for-1 trade 20 years from now.
Yeah, you will remember it because
just for the sole purpose.
Well, just that graphic.
Yes,
the graphic that they put out is a tough graphic.
It's just.
Would you have passed on that graphic?
Well, Vegas put it out.
Vegas is like, oh, here you go. This is,
But it's
a little different than Rantanen.
Had we been sitting here saying Marner walked away for nothing, and then they went out and signed Nick Waugh. They're separate events to me. It was just like a way to acquire a guy.
You think it was real important for Brad Treliving to not be known for the guy that let him walk out the door for absolutely nothing? Was that
Doesn't
part
hurt.
of the equation here?
Well, whether you think
something?
It's for perception or not, he helped the team get better than getting nothing. So yeah, it helps him.
Right now, I think people are looking at it through the lens of getting something for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like having them. But I think as time goes on, and like you mentioned off the top there, Kipper, the way the teams play, and as further down the line we get here, people's opinions change. Like, wow, they should have done it earlier. Their Leafs are bad now, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that's the case, but people are going to measure this trade against what happens progressively as the Leafs get worse or get better, I think.
I will say, since we sat here, my brother texted me, is Nick Waugh a good player? Is he better for Marner? He doesn't, people don't know how this all shook out. He's just, it seems like
and
a one-to-one.
I like him a lot.
He's
I do.
He's a playoff type player.
I think he can contribute. I think he can
he
play
gets
different
15
ways.
goals a year, something like that.
I think he had, I want to say 12 or 13 points or maybe 11 points in their playoff run when they won the Cup.
He is a good player. He's a third-line center and actually a good one. He's good defensively. He's good. I will say he's a little bit like Steven Lorentz in that he's very big and does not get upset.
Except for when he cross-checked. Who did he cross-check in the mouth in overtime?
Oh, did he? I don't know.
Against the Oilers this year. Wasn't that him?
I just went back and watched his fights in the NHL to date, and there are 3 of them and none of them.
Didn't he? Wasn't he the one that got that cross-checked Draisaitl in the mouth in overtime, or somebody got this past year?
Yeah, he did.
It was him.
Yeah.
And then we discussed if he should get suspended or not.
That's
He didn't
right.
get suspended. He got a fine.
That's nice.
Yeah,
maybe he just demonstrates his frustration via stick
A few more
violence.
shots to maybe Florida if you get a crack at it again
Great.
next spring.
I'm in on that.
So much again.